Oh my god. Steven Universe is over.
It's time, everybody. Light the fireworks and pour the wine. Because it's over.
Raise a glass.
It's over.
Isn't it?
That's right.
Oh boy. I can't believe this show has been going for, what did you say, 7 years?
7 years. 2013 was when it began. Well, actually, not counting the pilot, we didn't check that out. That might have been
true.
before.
That might have been earlier. 7 years.
The first real episode.
5 seasons, a movie, and an epilogue season. That's what we got. Steven Universe.
Not bad.
Cheers, Steven Universe.
Cool.
Clinker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't believe we're finally made it to the end. I mean, we kind of made it to the end twice already.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of made it to the end.
And with the end of the show, then the movie was also kind of an ending, and now the end of the epilogue.
Right.
And, you know, for an epilogue, it did a lot better than Homestuck.
Yeah, taking your word for that. Yeah.
Figured I'd throw a deep cut right in the beginning there.
Right.
I guess not that deep of a cut. Lots of people like Homestuck.
Lots of nerds.
Anyway, we're going to talk
a very
about
serious subject of Steven Universe dying a painful death.
no, this is not a painful death. It
wasn't that painful.
This was very carefully led to rest. And had like a nice long, and Steven Universe's future is like a nice long funeral that we've been having.
Yeah, it kind of is nice.
A nice 20 episode long funeral for Steven Universe. And, you know, the funeral, the service had a few twists.
A few twists. We didn't see all of them coming.
In fact,
a few disappointments, I must say, overall.
Maybe. But, you know, overall,
Personally.
Definitely, I'd say it was a good epilogue.
Oh, I'd say overall, when you balance it all out, I'd say it's pretty good.
We should point out, for the sake of, I don't know, just honor, that we were basically wrong about like everything in our previous episode.
Sure. Yeah,
well,
totally.
Okay. We were wrong about everything that happened like in the episodes, but thematically we were literally spot on the whole time.
Yeah?
Like they literally like
I don't actually I haven't rewatched the episode.
Oh, I listened back to it because I was like cuz like after watching these episodes I was like, "Oh my god, we were so wrong on that last episode." So I went back and listened to it to see how wrong we were. And we were wrong.
I vaguely remember like
but
we were like
thematically
miles off
thematically speaking, we were like so on target, it's kind of spooky. Like literally a thing I said in the podcast is a line in the show.
Oh, really?
And it's like they say last time I said something like, "Oh man, Steven, the problem is Steven really needs Steven."
Oh, yeah?
I literally said that.
That actually sounds familiar,
and that's a thing they said in the show.
It's literally the plot of the last couple episodes.
So I'm gonna take that as
pretty good.
It's
pretty good.
As some sort of victory.
You gotta put that
I'll edit it out of that last one.
Post that one on the Reddit. Be like, yo, I called it.
I mean, it's wrong about everything else, but I called.
Yeah, it's like ignore all of this. Just you gotta.
Just cut out the parts where I'm right. Edit everything else out. Also. But you know, gotta take your victories where you can.
Yeah, exactly.
We were wrong about everything else.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it was mostly. I mean, they were predictions, yeah, but they're mostly what we wanted to see.
True. I mean, so here's some of the things we got wrong. We said, oh, yeah, surely some of these characters are going to come back in the second half. And no, none of them did. Nope. It was pretty funny, actually. Like, literally
did we
not a single one. Did we at least say
that Jasper was coming back?
Oh, yeah, we did say it. Jasper's got to come back. All right, but then we also said the Pink Pearl's got to come back, which she did. But she didn't say anything.
Okay, yeah, sure. Pink Pearl came back.
Yeah, she didn't say anything.
Okay.
We thought, the Lapises have to come back. Didn't come back.
Nope.
Cactus even probably might come, but no.
New Cactus Stevens.
Yeah, new plant Stevens hanging around. Who else? Ruby and Eyeball and Aquamarine. They didn't come back. Bluebird didn't come back.
No, yeah. Well, I didn't think... Honestly, did I say Bluebird was coming back?
I mean, I thought they might come back.
I don't think I thought Bluebird was coming back.
Yeah, fair enough.
Was just, I thought Bluebird's design was kind of like...
I mean, yeah, the design wasn't my favorite.
It's a little bit weird. And also, both of the characters were just like, they were pretty much... I mean...
They were pretty funny.
What else are you going to do with those two characters at that point?
Fair enough. We thought the giant lizard wasn't going to be Steven.
Oh, yeah.
It was Steven.
That's true. It was Steven. But it wasn't corrupted, at least.
I mean, true. It was just
emotionally
shape-shifted.
distressed.
Yeah, it was very unhappy Steven, which was funny.
Yeah, I guess that was okay.
So basically, we were wrong about everything, except for the things we were right about. But I think we were right about the important things, and wrong about the unimportant things.
You know what? You're right. I remember I said that two of the things that I wanted to see / were predictions was more fusions. I wished. I wasn't. Like, I didn't want to be greedy. I didn't want to wish for, we don't need every single person. Like, that'd be crazy and stupid. Like, that would be, and be stupid. But a few characters, they could have fused, any two characters, like, a lot of them.
Yeah.
I'm not even picky, like, just any of them, please.
New fusions are a really fun part of the show.
Like, Pearl and Pearl, perfect. That
was a great fusion.
I loved that fusion. Looked awesome. And I wanted more of stuff like that.
Yeah. Me too. But
I don't know. What if Pearl and Bismuth fused?
That would have been pretty cool.
That would have been pretty cool.
I like that little sort of little relationship. Yeah. That's pretty cute. I love
like
it.
Pearl and Bismuth.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
It's adorable.
Ah, man, so many different things.
I mean, yeah, like that's the best part. Is like, we got some things we didn't know we wanted, like Pearl and Bismuth.
Yeah.
That might be a thing one day. That could be cool.
Yeah. Well,
we can imagine that.
Yeah.
Even though
it's never gonna happen.
It doesn't come to fruition in the show, but
theoretically,
that wasn't about Pearl and Bismuth. No, yeah. So fair enough.
We can, but it's a little bit painful to know that it'll never ever happen.
Yeah, never officially happen. Obviously.
Yeah, officially, like we can
there's fan drawings all over the place of all of literally every single kind of fusion you can imagine.
Yeah, so that's the thing about that is that they're bad.
Yeah, a lot of them are really bad.
Even the worst fusion that's in the show.
Anyway.
Which I wouldn't even want to, try to think of what it would be, but...
Another thing that was kind of funny, I remember we mentioned last time, it's funny that there's no Connie, and, there's, Connie's in there for, 2 seconds of this whole 10 episodes. Yeah. And then in this 10 episodes, she's in literally every single episode. Yeah,
then she just doesn't...
I looked through, it was is she in all of these? Yep, she's, in it for, a little tiny bit of every single one of them. It's really funny. Just making up for lost time.
Yeah, they were just, they cut through half the season, they're just oh my god, Connie, we forgot. We need to put her in the show. She's in the future now.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive right into these episodes.
Let's go into
We got our Peridot episode in Dreams.
Yeah, Peridot could have fused with somebody. Man.
Peridot could have fused with somebody, but,
well.
I'm okay.
I'm okay. I'm okay with Peridot never fusing with anybody.
I think Bismuth should have fused with somebody.
Yeah, somebody. Because she was an original crystal gem. They were fusing all the time.
They were fusing like crazy.
They were fusing all the time. And there was original, why didn't we meet more of the original crystal gems that got uncorrupted at the end?
That's true. That would have been cool.
Oh, man, that's a shame.
Anyway.
Alright.
But yeah.
The first episode in Dreams.
Peridot episode. Stay focused.
We'll get there.
But yeah, Peridot comes over to watch Camp Finding Hearts with Steven. I thought Lapis was her Camp Finding Hearts buddy, but you know what?
That's true.
I guess Steven is also there.
Yeah. That's true. That's unfortunate. Why wasn't Lapis there?
Lapis could have been there too, but then it would... We needed a Peridot episode.
Peridot needed an episode again. Lapis already had her episode.
It was fun.
So.
It was fun to have some good old Peridot. Peridot never changes. She's great.
It's true. Peridot's great.
Peridot's always great. And so they watch the Camp Finding Hearts
the Camp Finding Hearts remake.
Yeah, that extremely disappointing, as all remakes are.
Indeed, just hacks.
Mm-hmm.
hacks all around, picking up a beloved franchise and tearing it to pieces, as usual, as happened with Steven Universe Future. A stunning self-critique.
I was wondering.
Steven Universe Future.
No, I didn't think that, but I did suddenly think, what if they just do that in the future?
Yeah.
They just, like, reboot Steven Universe.
Theoretically, I mean,
Steven Universe, go! No.
Yeah, Steven oh, no. At least they already took Steven Universe Future, so they can't use that one.
Can't use that one.
That's pretty smart.
Anyway, no, that's not going to happen, probably.
Yeah, whatever.
I say to myself.
Yeah.
Knowing it's going to happen.
5 years later.
Popular. But anyway, it's obviously terrible, and they're totally unhappy with it. So they decide to use the power of Steven's dreams to remake the Camp Hunting
It turns out
remake.
Steven can psychically project his dreams into a TV signal that can be recorded by their TV.
Which, I mean,
sure.
Whatever.
He can already, like, mind wave his way into everything else. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he does now. He's like, we're going to get into this later, but this show is basically like a shonen battle anime that could have happened but didn't because it was...
I mean, basically, yeah.
But anyway, this leads to Steven he's trying to help out Peridot, but he doesn't actually care about Camp Hunting Hearts. He just wants to spend more time with Peridot because he feels alone.
Because he feels so alone.
And, this begins, like, the slow unraveling of one Steven Quartz universe over the course of these 10 episodes.
Which, of course, has been going on since the beginning of Steven
Universe. But he slowly descends into darker and darker places throughout these 10 episodes. Yeah, and it's pretty messed up.
I mean, you especially see it, like, in his, like, the homeschool episodes where he's like having like quits homeschool and stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid. But now it's really starting to pick up speed. But
Steven, he in his dream communicates to Peridot that he's a lonely sad sack.
Yeah, basically just they try again and again to get the episode right, and Steven progressively just tells Peridot, like, over the course of these dreams, hey, I'm really lonely.
I need help.
Please help.
Man. So yeah, pretty funny episode that started funny and then got sad and then got nice when, Peridot's there for him and it's like, oh, maybe this isn't going to go terribly at all. Maybe this is all going to be fine. It's not fine.
Nope. There's some pretty cool dream imagery in the episode.
Yeah, with like all the characters like showing up in weird places, basically.
Cool. I always like some dream logic.
But yeah, that was our Peridot episode. It was good to see her again.
And this is the last time Peridot will ever have an episode about her.
It's the last Peridot episode.
In dreams.
Man, why is Steven Universe over?
The first Peridot episode was that one where she showed up on the monitor, probably.
No, it was the one where she like warped in there. Remember?
Oh yeah,
It was the warp tour, I think.
Where was she after she warped out of there?
Yeah, because Steven like saw something warping in the warp, and no one believed him because nothing can be warping in the warp.
Right.
He spent the whole time trying to prove it.
That was before.
And then at the very end, Peridot shows up, and that's our first introduction to Peridot.
That's true.
Everyone's favorite character. Did you see in Homeworld Bound a square-headed Peridot?
Yeah, I did see the
square dot.
I did see the square dot.
That was great. Anyway, moving on. Bismuth Casual. Who's ready for cringe?
Yeah, this is the cringe episode.
I mean, a lot of them are that.
Yeah.
But this one was pretty intense. It was really intense because Steven, Connie, Bismuth, and Pearl go to a skating rink.
and Steven and Bismuth have a competition to see who can produce the most cringe.
Steven wins by a mile.
Bismuth starts out strong, but peters off very quickly. Steven, on the other hand, only goes from strength to strength in the cringe department.
Yeah, and Steven finds out that he's like talking to people. He's not actually that good at it.
Yeah.
He's mostly good at it when those people are trying to kill him, it seems.
Yeah, he's mostly good at negotiating. Not really good at conversating.
It turns out he's not actually that personable. He's just a politician.
Yeah, turns out he can make friends with a few people. Like maybe if they, I don't know, are Connie and are just weird.
But he seems to have...
But for the most part, he doesn't actually have much in common with any normal people.
With any normal human being.
Like normal people who like went to school or have jobs or anything like that.
So he discovers he has a hard time relating to other people his age.
Or anybody.
Or anybody.
Anybody who's not a Jim or his dad.
And this is a bit of a problem for him because he wants to be friends at the skating rink with people and hang out with Connie, but he feels like he's holding everyone back. And that becomes the long running theme of these episodes, is he feels like he can't discuss his problems with anybody because he doesn't want to bring anybody else down. and that just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, he just keeps going there.
These episodes, they sort of end nicely in the beginning, but as we go along, they stop ending nicely.
Yeah.
They just start getting worse and worse and worse, and it gets darker and darker.
Very sad.
As we go down. But this one does end nicely. We get Stevani for the final time.
Yeah, this is the final Stevani.
Remember the first Stevani?
Yep.
Remember, was it Alone Together or Together Alone?
I don't know.
One of those. They used both of those names at some point. But whichever one it was, we first saw Stevani. That was good. It was good times.
What a great episode.
Good times. But now it's over. We'll never see Stevani ever again.
Nope. Yep, she's gone.
Gone forever.
In this episode...
Moving right along.
Yeah, other than that, in this episode, also got Bismuth and Pearl coming together.
Wow. Bismuth has a serious crush on Pearl, which is great.
Yes.
And maybe someday.
Maybe someday. I mean, they're immortal. They'll get to it eventually.
They have plenty of time.
They got plenty of time. Great work, everybody.
Great work. That's a good ship. Good job, show. You did it.
Too bad they didn't fuse, but
that would have been cool. But no, we don't.
They didn't really have any reason to, so.
There's like 1 million fan fusions on the internet as we speak. But anyway.
They all look horrible. Okay. But basically, Steven is just cringy for the whole episode. And just can't skate for some reason. That just is kind of weird, actually.
I mean, maybe he's never skated before.
I don't understand that, though. He can, fly.
It's
why
true.
doesn't he
can
just,
fly.
Why doesn't he just, slightly float with his power and just glide along the floor?
It was a little bit too awkward to think of that at the time, so...
I guess, yeah. He was just cringing too hard.
Indeed. Moving right along, we got the most cringy episode in the entire season.
Oh, boy.
Together Forever.
Together...
Of course.
Forever.
Another play on Together Alone.
Oh, yeah, it is, huh?
Which is cute, but also... I do kind of like the way this episode goes. Is just what was it? Yeah, Steven trying to figure out what he's gonna do with his life, which I relate to personally quite a lot.
Yeah, very personal, very relatable,
very relatable circumstance. But anyway, he decides, I'm just gonna marry Connie. That'll solve all my problems.
Yeah.
Which is not a very good way to look at it, but that's the way he looks at it. And Ruby thinks that's a great idea, and Sapphire also thinks that's a great idea. And I kind of called it. I knew it was like, Garnet is not gonna think this is a good idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was kind of thinking the whole time that Garnet was gonna jump in at the last second
and
stop him, but it never happened.
I saw the workings of. I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, oh no,
oh no,
oh no.
But yeah,
Garnet's not gonna be there in time.
But yeah, It was pretty cute.
So cruel.
It was pretty cute, you know, with like Sapphire like going like, "Do it, Steven. Do it. Do it." Yeah. She was just super hyped about it.
That was pretty great. But
and then Steven going through his little montage of getting the little picnic ready. And you know, the whole like romantic moment itself was like really good actually. It was like really romantic.
Exactly. It was great.
The song was good. And it was just all set, but the problem was it was all set up for this super awkward thing where Steven proposes to Connie and says, "Why don't we just be Stevani forever?"
Yeah.
I don't see what could possibly go wrong. Of course, Connie says no, and this has many repercussions.
Yeah. You've never seen an episode where you're just screaming at the screen saying, "No! Don't do it, Jesus Christ, please stop."
I mean, like, we thought back when the whole, you know, Steve and Connie sort of rough patch, but that was the cringiest thing that ever happened.
That was
no, not even close, man. We've gone way beyond that. We've gone all the way. They basically took it all the way to the most extreme they could go. It's like, once they went there, it was like, okay, we've been there. It can't get more cringe than this. And it doesn't. It like,
thank goodness.
It does. I don't know what people think when we say cringe. We don't mean it like specifically like, oh, it's horrible. It's just like really like, you know, it's because you like really like feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what they were trying to evoke. Is exactly that, and they succeeded.
Yeah, it was definitely, you know, you're supposed to feel embarrassed for Steven because he's just messing up so hard.
Yep, and you know, and he's in such a desperate. You can see that he's in such a desperate place that he goes all the way to like this level of just.
Yeah, it also plays into the earlier episode talking about how he is not like a normal person who like went to school and has like normal social values. Like he doesn't really maybe fully understand what being married means.
I mean, it just seems like
it's maybe a bit beyond him.
It worked great for Ruby and Sapphire, and it seems perfect.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly. And he's got his Ruby and Sapphire, his two mentor figures here, telling him, yeah, it's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
And he doesn't, unfortunately, consult, say, anybody else. Like, say, I don't know, his dad.
It was pretty funny when Garnet, like, came back at the end. It's like, yeah, that was a bad idea. And, you know, I just do love the way that, like, these characters, Ruby and Sapphire, they are, like, Garnet, they are like the same person basically, but like they also very much level each other out to being reasonable. Or on their own, they are less reasonable. I also love that Ruby is like a scout leader. Yeah, that was great.
Was pretty funny.
That was adorable.
And I guess Sapphire's like a math teacher.
Yeah, I don't know
what was she doing.
She was like holding a seminar on alternate universes or something like that. But yeah, like who would like they had like the scouts were like Onion and Two Gems. That was pretty good. That was cute.
That was some good stuff.
Yep. But anyway.
But yeah, this is the real start.
Moving past the absolute cringe, the absolute maximum, we go to
the dark descent begins.
The dark descent begins in Growing Pains. But yeah, in which Steven, after having been turned down by Connie, starts going a bit. His body starts changing.
His body starts changing in unforeseen ways.
Yeah.
Like weird swellings in his body.
Weird swellings. And basically just turning pink and going all over the place.
Yeah. Basically, you know, kind of like being broken almost.
Yeah, it is kind of similar to being cracked.
Cracked, yeah.
Like a gem, but he's not physically cracked. He's emotionally cracked.
He's emotionally cracked.
Basically, Connie's like, this is probably bad. You should go to a hospital. And they do go to the hospital. And Connie's mom, who, it's nice to see Connie's mom. She doesn't show up that often.
That's true. This is probably the last time.
What was the first episode? No. Anyway.
But anyway, yeah, probably last time she shows up.
Yeah. Cool. I just remember first episode of Connie's mom was what was the one?
The Alexandria one?
Yeah, the first Alexandrite episode, which was like the most ingenious
funny.
introduction for Alexandrite. Because,
awesome.
The other fusions were like, we got to use them for these like intense moments. So like surely when Alexandrite first appears, it's going to be like the most epic moment ever. But instead, it's so she can go to dinner.
Yes.
This show is kind of
what a
genius. Whoever thought that up, brilliant. Anyway,
where were we? Anyway,
Connie's mom.
Connie's mom trying to treat trying to like treat his human side, I guess.
Yeah,
like
basically.
Give him X-rays and stuff.
Like, all right, you've never been to a hospital before. Gonna have to talk to your dad about that.
Yeah, much more explicitly reiterating the not normal childhood.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I figured he'd at least gone to I know he never went to school. I mean, I'm kind of surprised he's never been to a hospital before. I guess because he kept on like he never gets sick, and like any injuries he have sort of like heals.
Yeah, he just heals himself.
So I guess he never really had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, they just kind of like
just never came up.
Patch him up and lay him down. It's like, Steven, you just got thrown against a wall at 100 miles an hour. Your skull is in fragments. Are you okay? And he's just like, yeah, no problem, guys.
It's all good. But this is where essentially Dr. Mahesh Warren sits down and explains childhood trauma to the audience.
So it turns out
almost dying your entire life is not good for your psychological welfare.
Yep.
Which is very true.
Yeah, it's actually extremely true.
And
it might even make you grow into a giant boy that encompasses the whole room. That's how bad it is.
It's just a giant boy. It's just a big boy.
Just a huge boy.
In the room. And man, and that like sort of talk she has is kind of like, oh man, Steven's really messed up. It's like, remember all those fun times? They weren't that fun times. They were kind of dark, actually.
Remember all those cool moments where Steven almost died?
Or he watched people he loves die.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. Great memories for all of us.
Great memories. Oh, looking back on all the times. Anyway, this is bad news, and Steven starts growing to uncontrollable sizes.
Yep, he's going to destroy the building.
But luckily, Connie called his dad and got him in there to calm him down. And he chills out, and everything's fine for this episode.
Yep.
But it's obviously not fine. Because it just keeps getting worse.
Well.
All is not well in the world of Steven Universe, because we're moving right along to Mr. Universe. It's weird that that's the name of the episode.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the name of the song, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, Mr. Universe, where Greg is taking care of Steven and, like, just hanging out with him and being a cool dad like he always is.
Yep.
He is a cool dad.
Being a cool dad.
And, he still is the best dad.
Yep, but his status as best dad is questioned in this episode.
Oh yeah,
severely.
Yeah, basically, there's like, you know what, we need a little road trip in our life, and they go on a little road trip
to cheer Steven up, and you know what, almost sort of not really works.
It makes things worse.
Yeah, actually, no.
They go on a little road trip. They end up they go back to Steven's dad's family home where he grew up, and it's like, you know what, we've never seen Steven's grandparents at all.
That's true,
and we never do, and we never will. But it's kind of like, oh wow, I've never thought of that before. We've never seen his grandparents.
Yeah, it's true. We don't see any of his, except for his uncle.
Yeah, we see Uncle Andy, of course, but no one else. Which is, of course, was elaborated on because like Greg like left and never returned. Although he does show him like. He finds like letters from Greg that they never open because that's kind of that's kind of messed up. Yeah, I feel bad for Greg actually, really. I mean, he seems to have moved on, obviously, from his parents, but just the fact that they never opened his letters shows that they probably were kind of crappy parents.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
But, you know, it also goes to show that, like, whatever you grow up in, you're sort of gonna do the opposite. You're gonna do like the opposite extreme to your kid.
Exactly. Like, they're so bad at parents, they might make a parent as bad as Greg, who doesn't take his kid to school.
Yeah, he just never took his kids.
I mean, Greg has some excuses, like his kid's a gem, but he probably should have like done something about that and took him to a doctor at some point.
When you think about it, it is weird. It's like, oh, he doesn't need to go to school. I didn't like school, but he probably should have sent Stephen to school even though he was a gem.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
that would have made a lot of sense.
Assumably, Rose said that he wanted Stephen to be a human, right? Well, the human requires like human socialization. Like we've seen previously, Stephen doesn't really know how to talk to people his age.
Yep.
which you know, school really helps with that usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And like he grew up in a van as well.
Yeah, he grew up in a van.
Like, you know, until he moved in with the Gems, he was living in the back of a van.
They did build him a house though.
They did build him a house, which was nice of them. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like, oh yeah. But yeah, it is interesting to see that, like, sort of going a little bit into Greg's sort of psychology. He's still the best dad, but obviously
for sure.
he had a bit of a troubled childhood of his own that we never get to see because, you know, it's like not even part of him. It's still part of him, but like not very, but it's very deep down and not on the surface at all. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Now he's rich.
But now he's rich. Take that, Dad.
Take that, Dad. And that's the irony, huh? It was his music that he pursued when he ran away from his parents that made him all the money.
But yeah, either way, this sends Stephen sort of deeper and deeper into his sort of dark place where he feels like his father has sort of failed him as a father. At least he's failed him as like a human father.
Yeah, he's failed him. Yeah, it's true.
Because he basically spent his entire childhood dealing with gem problems.
Yeah, Greg has sort of had to be in fear of Stephen some of the time.
And never dealing with human problems, essentially.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know he just doesn't know how to deal with human problems. Because he doesn't have any practice.
Now all the gem problems are solved, so.
Yep. But anyway, that's the end. Oh yeah, he learns that they got their name from a song. Which is kind of funny. Which makes a lot of sense now that I think about it.
Makes a lot of sense.
That sounds like a Greg thing to do.
Yeah.
Change his name.
Do a song lyric.
Yep. It was a catchy song. But anyway, I'm waiting for Steven Universe's future soundtrack to be released. They still haven't put that out. They put out like one song from the soundtrack, like individually, but I know they're gonna do like a whole, like, put them all in one album for me eventually. But I'm still waiting on that. Still waiting on, you know, Being Human, like the ending theme.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. But anyway, moving right along, we got Fragments. And this is where we go from like kind of dark to like whoa.
Whoa.
Crazy. And this is where I'm like, oh yeah, this show could have been like a battle shonen show.
Yeah.
A shonen battle show. Like Dragon Ball Z, except Steven's nice and doesn't like to hurt people.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like it's sort of like a battle shonen, except the battle shonen, like, you know, when they say that they don't want to hurt people, it's like it's like as if they actually meant that.
Yeah, it's actually don't.
A lot of protagonists will be like, "Oh man, hurting people! I don't want to do it," but then they will gladly.
But I have no choice.
But Steven is actually committed.
Actually committed to the trying not to hurt people thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, if, like, you know, things went a little differently, like maybe Garnet decided, all right, we're going to train this boy for battle.
For battle.
For war. We're going to train Steven for war. And he would have become this, and
a ruthless monster.
Yeah, basically an unstoppable monster.
A ruthless monster with a huge healing factor who can never die because he heals all of his injuries instantly.
But no, that's not what he became. He became like a happy Steven until now.
No, yeah, he was pretty happy up until now, so, he had a good run of it.
But basically, things are starting to get worse for Steven. He's feeling more and more like he can't explain his problems to everybody because he doesn't want to, like, drag anybody else into his problems.
Right.
Like I said in the last episode, Steven really needs someone like Steven to talk to him and help him out. Yeah, but nobody like Steven exists. Everyone's like, Steven says he's okay, and everyone's like, well, okay, and they don't know how to be Steven. Yeah. Because only Steven is Steven.
Only Steven's the Steven of the Stevens.
But basically, this leads to Steven running off on his own to try and figure out how to deal with his gem powers, which are growing more and more out of control and more powerful and dangerous. Used to be, oh no, gem power is going out of control. Oh, that's kind of funny. But now it's like, oh god, he's going to kill everyone.
Yeah, he's accidentally going to kill. It used to be, oh god, gem powers, they won't work.
I was like, oh, lol, isn't that funny? They're stuck in a bubble. Ha ha. And now everyone's going to die.
Now, I will grow to gargantuan size, kill everyone.
So he hangs out with Jasper because even though he's trying to get away from everyone, he's still lonely and needs someone to talk to, even if it's like the worst person, which is Jasper.
Yeah. Well, it has to be Jasper.
Yeah. And Jasper's like, well,
Jasper's the only one who's not going to, like, try to help him.
Yeah, he knows that. He knows no one else is going to worry themselves about Steven. So, yeah. So it ends up trying to train to control his power by training with Jasper. It's not a good idea. But I like how they have, like, they do have the good old training montage. That takes, it's like 3 days and he turns into like a giant guy with like stubble and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's pretty good for 3 days.
Pretty good for 3 days.
But yeah, he basically starts beating stuff up, throwing rocks, carrying rocks, like making cool shields that he's like launching at things to blow them up. And, basically tapping into all his diamond powers until he finally decides, okay, time for a rematch with Jasper. They have the most epic anime battle in the whole show, basically.
It's Shield Man versus
Helmet. Oh yeah, we got to see Jasper's helmet. We talked about that last time.
Yeah.
We never saw her helmet.
We didn't see her helmet.
I was wondering, would it have horns? And yes, it does have horns.
It does have horns. It looks awesome.
It does look so cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And they have an epic anime battle.
No.
Like, remember when we were like last time, it was like, oh wow, look at this Dragon Ball Z fight. Wow, that's really Dragon Ball Z. Like, we weren't even close. Nope. This is what it looks like.
There we are.
They're literally flying around, punching each other in the sky. Straight up, just Dragon Ball Z happening there. Pretty epic.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It was a cool fight. But it was kind of like, oh, this is going a much darker place than we thought it would.
Yeah, as the fight progresses.
Yeah, and then
you're like, how is this gonna end exactly?
And it ends with Steven killing Jasper.
Just murdering her.
Just kills her.
Goes for the shatter. Absolutely brutal.
Just destroys her completely. And it's like, whoa, that was messed up.
Dog.
Like, and like, oh, the way it cuts is so good. Because, like, he attacks. And then, like, it just cuts to black. And then Steven, like, running into his bathroom, like, holding something in his hand. It's like, oh, God, what did he do? And he just totally destroyed her. But luckily, he could bring her back.
Yeah, luckily he has, he's pretty magical.
He's pretty magical. He can fix anything. And he does. He repairs his Jasper. Which, it would have been kind of intense if Jasper was just dead.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
If, it didn't work, because I thought that, I assumed it, I was kind of thinking it wouldn't work, because she's shattered. She's not,
Yeah, true.
She's not, corrupted.
I would have been, before. I think it could have been interesting.
Not like she actually, does anything.
Yeah, she doesn't do anything else. It would have been interesting if she was just
straight dead.
Just dead. I think that would have, really helped certain things along with, Steven's sort of complete psychological meltdown. if he wasn't able to fix Jasper and she was gone.
Even with bringing her back, it is, pretty
I know, it is pretty damn. But imagine
way more messed up.
I think that would have
maybe too dark.
Brought it across. Yeah, that would have been pretty dark for Steven Universe. That would have been too dark even for Steven Universe future. Let's be real.
Maybe
just a little bit. But I can't help but think, that would have been something. But anyway, yeah, he managed to fix Jasper, and at this point, we're just going like. The episodes start actually like sort of just going into each other.
Yeah.
So, next one we got is Homeworld Bound. And where we go back to Homeworld and we get to see Spinel.
Yay!
Everybody loves Spinel. And she was great.
Yeah, finally. We get to see Spinel in a TV format.
And she's not miserable, which is good to see.
It's nice. She's always on those blue diamond clouds.
It's like high as
a kite floating to the ceiling.
But yeah, Steven, after shattering Jasper, feels like, okay, I need to go to the diamonds. They'll help me control this diamond power that I have. Like, I have no other option.
Yeah, obviously, diamond power is out of control. We gotta ask the diamonds about it.
Yeah. So, he heads to Homeworld, like, leaving everyone behind, like, saying, no, don't follow me. I might accidentally kill you or something.
Yeah. Which, fair enough.
Yeah. So, he goes there, and they go talk to all the diamonds, who are all, like, sort of so very different from the last times we saw them.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, like, the movie, I guess. But yeah, like...
Yeah, I guess the movie was technically, like, a long time ago in the timeline.
I guess it was a while ago, yeah.
Because, like, they've gone through, like, Homeworld, or Homeschool, like, a whole thing at Homeschool.
Yeah. Oh, there...
Like, a whole... like, people have, like, graduated from Homeschool.
I think one of my favorite things was, like, the Zircons, like, running for, like... Gem president, I guess.
Yeah, the Zircon. Like,
I can't believe half of these idiot gems are voting for Zircon. He's a diamond stooge. Now Zircon, on the other hand, that's a gem you can trust.
Yeah, okay.
It was kind of fun to see the Zircons again. Yeah. But basically, yeah. Steven heads to Homeworld. Spinel is there, and she's adorable as usual. And they go meet all the diamonds. Yellow Diamond, who is trying to undo all the damage she's done and put back together gems, which is, that's nice of her.
Nice. Yeah, it's like, it's closure for what happened to all the gem fragments, and they mentioned the cluster, too.
Yeah, they mentioned trying to rebuild the cluster.
Which, I mean, I guess they'll get to it eventually. Yeah, they're immortal.
Yeah, that's true. I do like how they do say, like, oh, I can't always find all the pieces of shards. So it's not like they can undo everything that's ever happened. It's not like they can undo...
probably keep them around, because there's probably a few of them, like, in the cluster. Yeah, wait till you get to that one.
I was just like that they mentioned that. So it's not like, okay, they can't just undo the entire war.
Exactly. That is a good point.
Yeah. But, they're trying to make as much fixes as they can for all the things they've done over the years.
Yeah. All the diamonds have new superpowers that they've developed, which are kind of like weird, which are like weird inverses of their old powers. Like Yellow Diamonds, like kill lightning now, like
just kill people. It's like, I could actually just use this just to reshape people.
Exactly. Like, you can actually just make people bigger or smaller.
And then they go to Blue Diamond, whose tears have turned into happy clouds.
Yeah, whose waves of sadness are now clouds of happiness.
Happy clouds that make you very, very happy when you are on them.
Yeah, when you are on them.
When you're on the clouds.
And, Steven isn't shown breathing any of the clouds in, but he is enveloped in them for many seconds, so...
We got Blue Diamond's song, which is kind of...
Blue Diamond song. I like Blue Diamond song.
I kind of like that song, yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was very interesting, because it was like... The voice actress, like... she's like definitely like doing a different voice for Blue Diamond. And then when she sings, it's like a very different voice that she's using to sing the song. And that's like, it's weird, but I like it. She has a very nice voice.
Yeah, I like her voice.
But anyway, little song about happy clouds and how happy it makes them. But anyway, Steven's not like, okay, these clouds, yeah, they make you happy, but they can't fix the fact that I'm a monster.
Yeah, it doesn't help in the long term.
So it's like, okay, maybe you should go talk to White Diamond. And White Diamond has the weirdest power of all, which allows other gems to control her instead of the other way around.
Yeah, instead of brainwashing other gems, she can channel other gems' minds, I guess.
Which, I guess that makes sense. She's White Diamond. Yeah. She can, shine every color of the rainbow.
Exactly. She's every gem, technically.
So they do that with Steven, and Steven decides I'm going to murder White Diamond for everything she's done to me. Which,
a lot of stuff. She's killed a lot of people.
She's done a lot of damage to Steven's life.
She's murked a lot of worlds. So.
And also, tried to murder Steven, basically.
Yeah, and personally to Steven. Murdered a lot of his friends, too.
And Steven feels like, what if I just killed you?
I could probably just kill you right now.
Yeah, so he's having vengeful thoughts, and that's no good. But yeah, all that happens, and just leads Steven to be feeling even more desperate and afraid of himself, which is not good. Not good at all.
Yeah, it's just the spiral continuing throughout the episodes.
Yep. Because it's kind of funny because he's seeing all the diamonds who are sort of the big bads in his childhood, but they're all reformed and better and happy. But he is gone the opposite direction where he is no longer happy. He is no longer.
He used to be the one being hey, cheer up, guys.
He used to be the one who was fixing everything, but now it's them who's got the power to who are actually fixing things, and he's just sort of miserable.
He's just hanging around.
And it's kind of sad to see him like that. But anyway, we're moving on. We're getting to the very ends here. Everything's fine. And everything is not fine.
No, the opposite of that is this whole episode.
And we get to Steven. He's basically just freaking out even more. To the point where he just basically goes into complete denial mode.
Yeah.
And trying to okay, if I just pretend everything's fine, everything will be fine. And that's kind of, you can see that sort of twisted sort of logic is if I just stop being this, then it'll stop happening to me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It gets worse.
Yeah, but it turns out when you really need to help people, when they don't need help, you end up making it worse.
Steven is not fine. It's not okay. But he spends the whole episode basically pretending he's okay. But it's not okay. But it's not okay that it's not okay. It has to be okay.
Yeah. He basically just spends the whole episode running around making a fool out of himself.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
is hanging out with Peridot. And accidentally makes a bunch of helpful Steven plant monster clones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Running around.
I'm sure all those plants went around helping people.
I like when he goes over to business. Amethyst is "Hey, bud, you talking to yourself now?" Then it plays baseball, and that doesn't go well.
Nope. And
basically, this all just leads up to him back at the house. Still trying to pretend everything's fine. When it's Connie got a message on her phone. It's basically help, Steven. Help. And he basically freaks out. And we get to the next episode. This is basically all just a long lead up to the next episode.
This is all basically preamble for this next episode.
Yeah, which is, why did I turn this upside down? I am my monster.
Where Steven turns into Gojira!
Gojira!
Yep, so as it turns out, Steven is the big crocodile in the...
Yep, what a surprise. Everybody knew it was, except us.
Yeah, except us. We denied it because we thought it was stupid. And you know what? I'm going to say it. It is still pretty stupid. They did not really give a good explanation to why it turned into a giant dinosaur.
The thing that doesn't really bother me. If they want to turn him into a giant dinosaur, okay, whatever. I don't care about that logically within the show. But I feel like it was unnecessary a little bit.
That's my problem.
Because big ol' buff Steven murdering Jasper is already like the scariest thing the show has ever seen.
Yeah, it's
like the giant Gojira monster is completely unnecessary.
We've honestly seen these Gojira monsters too many times in the show for it to really even have that much of an impact.
I mean, I think what it was is they needed like a climax for Steven Universe Future. They needed like a big grand climax for Steven Universe Future, and what better way than a Godzilla monster?
So, what if Steven maybe just like grew to like, I don't know, maybe it's just like the size of the other diamonds or something, and like was like a big giant like diamond.
I don't even think that's. I think just him, like his big buff version of himself was fine.
That would even be better.
That was like him with that, like was just basically seeing what he did to Jasper. That was intimidating enough. Just having that go berserk would have been...
That'd been awesome.
That'd have been scary enough.
Actually, like, go berserk, like, trying to kill them. Like, that would have been like, what if, like, Steven, like, flew into space or something? And, like, they've got to, like, follow this kid into space because he's going to, like, blow up the sun. Like, I don't know.
Alright, that might have been going a little bit too far.
That might have been going a little too far. But what I'm saying is, like, what if... Like, I think, like, what if, like, it was, like, Steven versus the Crystal Gems, but Steven is actually Steven, and he's using, like, all his powers against, you know, is the Crystal Gems. That'd be way cooler, as opposed to just, like...
Gojira.
just a big lizard that, like, tries to
giant kaiju
stomp on people.
I mean, alright, yeah, I think we both agree that the kaiju, ultimately...
Yeah.
It wasn't, because, like, it's not like the way they turn him back, he needed to be a kaiju. That doesn't... They just sort of calm him down.
It's just like
and give him a big hug, and they could have done that if he was
like,
not a giant monster.
It's like he didn't need to be a big giant monster, and also it's like...
I know this probably just sounds like we're salty because we got it wrong, but honestly,
no, that's not it. That's not it. I promise.
That's not it. We're not salty just because we were wrong about Steven being a kaiju monster. It's just that it seemed like, well, but he was scary enough already.
Yeah. Also, one other thing is just like, this is not like this does not have any kind of precedent in the series.
I mean,
like,
true.
He wasn't corrupted at all, mind you, which is the only time we've ever seen people turn into monsters like that.
Yeah.
He was just emotionally distressed, and you know what? If his gem powers were acting up and he got bigger, that's one thing, but why is he a monster? Why is he literally Godzilla? He just
shapeshifts into a monster.
Like, so before...
He shapeshifted into a cat one time. Remember that? A giant weird cat blob?
Well, yeah, that was because he, like, was, you know, being a cat. I understand.
It's basically the same thing, except a monster.
He could shapeshift if he wanted to, but before he was just growing as his normal body.
Yeah,
remember?
That's true.
Like, it was, like, up to, like, the size of that room, just as a normal body. Like, he wasn't, like, slowly becoming more lizard-like.
I think the problem was just really tall Steven would have looked ridiculous.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you didn't even... Like, what if he wasn't, like really tall, but, you know, just, like, you know, pretty tall. Maybe, and, like, also, like, was shooting...
Laser beams.
Not laser beams, but, like, I don't know, maybe spike balls at people.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he had, like, a giant, like, ball and chain or something. That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, I don't know. I just think... Sort of, basically, Super Saiyan Steven was...
Yeah, Super Saiyan Steven.
Just regular Super Saiyan Steven that we saw in Fragments. Just that Steven, it was enough. I don't think he needed to turn into a Godzilla. That's just my opinion. And, you know, the fact that he turned into Godzilla, it doesn't change it. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I mean, the solution is in the end is the same.
Yeah, and they just need to show Steven some love. Because... everyone's basically selfish.
I guess, yeah.
They're not really selfish. They're just like don't know how to help Steven. Because
that's kind of like that's like the other thing I didn't really understand. I guess was what did they learn exactly? Like it's not like they were unwilling to help Steven. It's just like they knew they wanted to help Steven.
I think the thing was,
and they were like trying to help Steven, but Steven like literally physically stopped him from helping him.
I think what it was just Steven just like he felt like he was like he said in the other previous episode before he transformed into Godzilla. He said he's a fraud, and he felt like if they knew who he really was, they wouldn't love him anymore. Is what he felt like. If they knew that he wasn't like, you know, perfect Steven, then they wouldn't help him. So he just continuously like pushing these feelings down for time after time, and then this eventually turned him into Giant Steven. And them showing that just even with this like horrific version of himself that he's become, they still care about him. They still love him.
Okay.
And it wasn't really something that the Gems needed to learn in particular. It was something that Steven needed to find out.
Okay.
Is that they still loved him even though he wasn't like the ideal version of himself that he had sort of.
Alright, that's a little better.
Yeah. That was what I took away from it. And lots of people feel that way in real life. They feel like if anyone knows the real me, they'll just hate me, and I can't be myself because nobody will like me. And that's a feeling. That's
a real feeling right there.
Yeah. And this show is really good at that.
Yeah.
Making you feel sorry for people.
Making you feel real sorry for Steven now.
Yeah, man. Steven. Such a good show.
What a great show.
So even though I feel like Gojira Steven was unnecessary, was sort of just, I think it was just, I think they probably, I wouldn't be surprised if I talked to the people and they felt the same way, but they felt like they needed like a big, giant climax for Steven Universe Future.
A big climax.
I don't think they needed a really big climax.
Yeah, they already had that.
They already had big climaxes.
They already had 2 of them.
And I think just Steven's meltdown didn't need to be a giant monster.
Yeah.
He could have just been, like I said, Super Saiyan Steven.
He could have just been rampaging Super Saiyan Steven.
Yeah, and that would have worked just as well.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They went giant monster.
But then they wouldn't have needed to fuse an Alexandrite for like 1 second.
Yeah, they wanted to have like a sort of fight scene. I don't know what they needed, but I guess they just wanted a big monster. And so they made Steven a big monster. But anyway, finally moving on. They get Steven back to normal, and they move on to the last episode, The Future. And this episode, even if like the entire rest of the epilogue was like terrible, this would have made it all worth it.
Yeah, this one's really good.
And this one just made me really happy, like the whole way. And it was just it's basically just a big giant goodbye to Steven Universe for like a whole episode. And it was really sad, and it made me sad.
Yeah, it was sad.
Steven, he's moving on with his life. He's moving out.
He's finally moving. Doesn't, does he actually say, like, exactly where he's gonna, like, end up?
No, he just says he's gonna go find a place to be.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
To continue his life. And
he's gonna find somewhere.
They mentioned that this is, like, several months after, he turned into Gojira Steven.
Yeah. This is later.
This is much later. But, yeah, he's ready to... I think he's just decided it's time to start his life, really. After everything he's done. Now it's time.
Yeah, now it's time.
Now he's like an adult. He's going to go out into the world and do adult things. Like an adult.
Yeah, not sure exactly
with magic power.
Yeah, I guess he's gonna like get a job.
I guess he's gonna get a job somewhere.
Yeah, I guess so.
Who knows? But whatever he does, he's
just really trying not to peak when he's like 13 or whatever.
but that what he does exactly is not important, because it's all about moving forward with your life.
Exactly.
And that's what this episode is all about. He's going around saying goodbye to everybody. Saying goodbye to Bismuth, Peridot, and Lapis is adorable.
Yeah.
It is really sad. I like when he was doing it, like when he first was doing it, Peridot was like really, really sad. Bismuth was like sobbing, and Lapis was just like had this mean look. He was like angry.
Wait a minute.
Steven, you cannot do this. That was pretty good. And they just have a lovely goodbye. And like, oh yeah, this is a bit where like Steven's like, oh, they're not sad that I'm leaving.
Yes. Yeah, throughout the episode, Steven tells the Crystal Gems repeatedly, hey, I'm out of here. And they are just like, yeah, okay, cool.
He's like, finally, I get to delete all your save files.
Finally. I can't wait.
And do like the talk Steven had with his dad when it's like, yeah, you're allowed to have petty feelings, Steven. That's okay. And that's the thing that Steven, another thing that Steven needs to learn is like, it's okay to not be perfect.
Yep.
Because no one is. But then finally, at the very end, they're all sobbing and having a lovely goodbye. And you know what? I got a little emotional.
I got a little
emotional when saying goodbye. Because I love this show.
Nerd.
Oh. Oh, I've been called out.
Adam. Let's all
Everybody
laugh
at me for being sad about Steven Universe.
They're not even real, guys.
They're just cartoons.
They're just like drawings. Oh.
They make me sad, though. They're sad drawings.
They are very sad drawings. It's true. They are crying breakfast friends.
Didn't get a crying breakfast friend. Oh, yeah. Man, I loved at the beginning when they sing the Cookie Cat song.
Oh, yeah.
In the very first episode of Steven Universe.
Full circle.
Do you remember the first time we saw Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl?
No, actually.
It was kind of...
I didn't watch the first episode.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Steven Universe is over, man. It's over.
It is done. When do we start making the podcast in terms of Steven Universe?
Started Steven Universe? I don't know. When did we start talking about the episodes?
Like, what was the first episode we talked about?
It was obviously a ways into it.
Oh, yeah. We weren't like, Like, where
I have no idea.
Yeah, we'll have to look back on that.
We'll just have to go... I can just go look at the videos and find the first... Yeah. You know? It was probably season 4 around there.
I think it was probably like season 4.
That's maybe. My guess.
We'll see.
But anyway, man.
We shall see.
But you know what? Like I said, like, this is... As far as endings go, it's like a good one. It didn't like get like cut off. It didn't get ended prematurely. It had like a nice long goodbye, basically.
Yeah, it's like because you kind of gotta. It doesn't feel like it when it's like coming out weekly, but this whole Steven Universe future is basically one long ending.
Yeah. One long sad, and it is the funeral, like we said.
Yeah.
This was the memorial service of one Steven Universe.
The TV series.
The TV series, not the man. The man lives on in our hearts. And in the future.
And in his van.
And in his van, in his car, driving away. But anyway, yeah, it's... man. What did you think of Steven Universe, the show?
Yeah, it was okay.
Oh, I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Man. But like I said, like other shows, not every show gets to end quite this well. So I'm glad. It's a bittersweet thing. Like, it's good that it ended. It's good that it's not going on forever, like some shows do.
Yeah.
So we always have to think about that.
We've always got to appreciate the fact that at least there isn't like a season like 11 of Steven Universe.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be, even though it's sad that it's ending, we're all better off that it is ending at this point. At this
point, we gotta, put the bullet in the head before the cancer reaches critical mass.
Maybe. It's not the metaphor I would use, but yeah. But you know what? There was also great things we get to think about, like, what is Rebecca Sugar gonna do next?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe a Netflix series, yeah. That's like, like we got Hamilton Ward doing his Netflix series, Alex Hishark from Gravity Falls doing a Netflix show. So maybe Rebecca Sugar's next. She's gonna make a Netflix show.
Probably. That's
and I'll watch it. I'll watch it if it has her name on it. She made Steven Universe. She made Steven goddamn Universe. It's pretty good. I'm really curious to see what she does next.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. She's been working on Steven Universe for 7 years.
Well, she's probably been working on it for like...
Yeah, probably longer than that.
I'm just making probably like
putting it
10 to 11, 12 years even.
Yeah, maybe.
From pre-production to actually making it.
I'm sure in that time you have plenty of ideas.
It's true.
For more stuff to make. So, I'll be curious to see what comes next for one Rebecca Sugar. And also all the people who worked on this show.
That's true. There's some other people.
I know there was like two of the guys left a while ago to make their show Craig of the Creek. That's not the worst show. It's not my kind of thing. No. I mean, I might try to get back into it. Now that Steven Universe is on.
Yeah. Now that I've got all this free time.
I feel bad for actually Rebecca Sugar's husband, Ian Jones Quarterly. Quarterly? I don't know how to say his name. Yeah. It's weird. But he was making OKKO, which sort of got... Yeah. It didn't get... It had an ending, but it sort of got canceled. Yikes. Had like a sudden ending.
Oh, well.
I mean, not as bad as like, I don't know, Wander Over Yonder, but still not that great. But anyway, yeah. Those things happened. But, we got new cartoons. We got Infinity Train. Who knows where that might go. We got, what other cartoons are there? Quick.
What was that one called? Midnight Gospel.
Oh yeah, that's Townsend Ward's Netflix show.
Yeah.
That thing looks trippy as
fuck. It looks pretty good. Looks like a quality show there.
I said that show. Yeah. Go look up look up the trailer for the Midnight Gospel. It looks like what I imagine taking acid feels like. It's weird, man. But that's what.
What else was there?
I mean, Disney's still making cartoons.
Yeah, I guess.
They're kind of all not that interesting. No. The Owl House. Nope. Amphibia was not the worst thing.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, you wouldn't like it. It's not that good. It's better than Star, but it's not that much better. Has some positives. But anyway, we're talking about Steven Universe, and I guess we're obviously done talking about Steven Universe.
I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say.
I mean, yeah, that's the end. We finished everything. What are we going to do with ourselves now?
I don't know. Probably watch a better show.
Yeah, I can't even say it. I'm not strong enough.
You're not as blasphemous as me.
Exactly. And after this, I will take my katana and I will destroy you.
Not if I take your katana first.
No, stay away from my katana. You can't touch it. You'll die immediately. Anyway, Thank you all for listening to the final episode of the Steven Universe podcast.
I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get bored and go back and do all the episodes.
I do kind of want to rewatch it at some point, but not right now.
Now that it's over,
I'm still in the grieving period.
Yeah, now is the time for the countdown to begin to the full Steven Universe marathon.
Still need to finish our Adventure Time rewatch.
Oh yeah, we're still on our Adventure.
I think we sort of burned ourselves out on that, trying to do one every week.
Yeah.
That was not fun. It stopped being fun after we were doing it for like a few weeks. And it's more difficult now.
I kind of want to do it now, though.
Yeah, we could probably do it.
Mostly just because I want to watch more Adventure Time.
I know, Adventure Time's good.
It's so good.
I mean, we're going to watch the new Pendleton Ward show, and we'll talk about that. That'll be interesting. If it's interesting. We'll find out if it's interesting and report back. All right.
Make sure to watch it first before we make a podcast.
True, good idea. We've been rambling on way too long. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye.